And how the decision here, just for the benefit of our readers, viewers. So, see, I think we were the Attorney General, the Regional Minister, the District Chief Executive, and Gyamfuah District Assembly. A decision rendered on 14 June 2018. And if I may quote from page 62 onwards, it says, in his book, Essentials of the Ghana Law of Evidence, the learned author, S.A. Brobe, that's with the Supreme Court, as it then was, stated as follows with regards to public policy and illegality. No individual is permitted to use a law to perpetrate the commission of a crime. In civil cases, the rule is that a person cannot found an action by an illegal act, commission, or conduct. And this is encapsulated in the Latin maxim, est tepi causa non oritur actio, or ex dolo non oritur actio. End of quote. That goes ahead to also quote at page 66. In the instant case, reported leases based upon which the applicant was sending the equipment were all null and void and conferred no rights on the applicant. Therefore, the activity which the equipment were being carried out and performed was nothing but an illegal activity. It therefore stands to reason that if the equipment were found in the Gyamfuah District Assembly illegally and were going to be used for illegal mining, then the respondent, by seizing and detaining them, breached no rights of the applicant, which required the court to grant him any remedy. The conclusion is quite instructive. The conclusion is from page 68 to 69. It says, from the foregoing discussions of the law and the facts of the case vis-a-vis the various legal submissions, the court is of the opinion that the acquisition of the mining leases by the applicant breached statutory or constitutional infractions, which made the purported execution of the mining lease or a nullity. Hence, the applicant had no mineral rights as expected by Section 9 of Act 703. So it is safe to say that the equipment were going to be used for an illegal mining, known in our local parlance as galamsey. As such, the seizure and detention of the trucks and the equipment were justified. This is a decision of the High Court, Kumasi, and this issue was actually tested in the Supreme Court. The lawyers in that case were Osafo Babin and Ejuji Tamaklo. They lost. I was the counsel for the state in that matter. And so, if you had the Supreme Court, the application for certiorari was also dismissed. So, as far as I'm concerned, this issue of the High Court Kumasi has not been challenged. The same was appealed by the Supreme Court after an application for certiorari had been dismissed. So, what is the illegality about the exercise?
But this is a court of.
And I'm yet to know of any decision to the contrary by another High Court or any court at all in the country on the same matter as galamsey.
Yeah, but a court of competent jurisdiction has held, as you rightly say, that no rights can accrue out of an illegality.
Yes.
In this case, the military officers are on the ground making unilateral decisions as to this mining equipment has been used for an illegality and therefore banning it. That isn't what the court has done here.
So the same case, the facts leading to...
had been seized before you went to court.
Precisely. The equipment had been seized for over 1 year at the police station in Kumasi. The plaintiff in this matter contended that the seizure was unlawful since it amounted to determination, as you said, by the disassembly unilaterally, in fact, by the regional minister unilaterally, and that it also amounted to a violation of their right of a hearing and that kind of thing. So those contentions were made, and this was a ruling. The ruling was to declare that no illegality can give rise to any right.
But doesn't the distinction between seizure and distraction
so you're now thinking about the severity of the action.
Yeah.
So the point is that either way, it is punitive. Punitive in the sense that your equipment had been seized and detained for God knows how long. You have been deprived of the use of it. They were claiming as much as about 12 million, total of 12 million Ghana cedis, and that claim was dismissed. That is so different from the ban of the equipment. It's a principle that ought to be underscored. The principle that no right whatsoever can be conferred on a person who is engaged in illegal or criminal activity. And that, for me, is the most significant point. I think that, yes, I recognize that it may seem harsh to you, and that's why people are complaining, but it may seem harsh to you. What about the far-reaching, devastating effect on the nation? There's an activity that has resulted in pollution of our water bodies, massive destruction of various towns and all. It has actually even weakened the foundations of certain towns. And these are acts that have generational effect. So it has effect even beyond our generation. I think that the monumental damage that is being caused ought not to be, or side ought not to be loss of that. And that is, for me, that is what is most important. And I find it, with all respect, a little bit reprehensible when people, instead of rather ensuring that the government leaves no stone unturned in its efforts to bring to a halt this menace, rather are advocating for a recognition of some non-existent rights of persons engaged in the
But
acts.
if you ban the excavators, in the Eston Kibu case, you seize, and so the evidence was still there. If you ban it, what's the evidence to prosecute?
The evidence is there because we first and foremost visits to the scene were conducted, pictures were taken, pieces of the equipment were also taken, even the fact that the equipment were in water bodies. All there, the evidence was there. So there clearly has not been an undermining of our effort to prosecute the case effectively. And that leads me on to the issue that you said that, yes, people
the prosecution.
Yes,
I'll come to the prosecution, but there's a quick one that just occurred to me. The law that the opponents to this banning had cited is that the process is you seize, give the police custody, eventually the minister can repurpose. In the Eston Kibu case, you appear to have complied because you seized.
No, we just seized the equipment.
Yeah, but that's what the law says you should do.
Yeah, but
in this case, the law, you've actually bent the equipment, which is contrary to what the law says.
No, what we have done is to decommission the equipment, decommission them in a
setting
way.
Fire
Yes,
to it.
Yes, but I'm saying that, yes, so it still does not divest us of the decision to deal in a manner as
but
appropriate.
But that's not what the letter of the law prescribes.
No, but I'm saying, no, that letter of the law is for prosecution. The provisions are for prosecution and what ought to be done consequent upon prosecution. So if you want to prosecute the matter, we cannot prosecute in any other manner at all. But I'm saying that let any person also refer us to an authority which contradicts the decision in Eston Kibu, where the principle is stated that no illegality can confer on any person any right whatsoever in the country. And that's it.
You have the power to amend this law, though. Why don't you simply do that?
To amend it to do what?
The law that prescribes the procedure for dealing with mining equipment used for illegal purposes.
Right. So that amendment, if pursued, will only have the effect of
regularizing.
No, not regularizing. Not regularize. I think the way it's not regularizing. It will have the effect of casting in law, in more definitive terms, such an action that ought to be done. Simple as that. It does not mean that it's illegal. It's not every conduct of yourself which is prescribed for by law, in hard law. It does not mean that such conduct, if not prescribed for by hard law, is illegal.
At least, some say, at least amend the law.
I think that is what the president is saying, that if they think that it's illegal, then perhaps we have to test it in a court of law. And that's what people also think that perhaps is a little harsh. He's only saying that the laws of Ghana recognize a certain institution for the determination of illegality or otherwise. And therefore, if you are contending that his action is, or an action by an authority of state is illegal, have recourse to court.
Why is there what people see as a fixation banning of the excavators, so not prosecuting the people behind the excavators?
But who chose the so I think that there's also one erroneous impression that has been created. There's a lot of prosecution going on. On Saturday, I had occasion to speak on your radio, the network, Joy FM, and I alluded to as many as about 46 persons who have been prosecuted, 45.
Prosecuted or being prosecuted?
Being prosecuted since May, since 12th of May.
2021?
Yes, people were arrested on 12th May, 14th May, I think 17th May, and even just last week, even just yesterday, people were arrested. So as of the time I was speaking to you on Joy FM, as far as I was concerned, there were as many as about 45 or 46 persons who were being prosecuted in 5 different cases. And it's very important to note that that prosecution involved as many as 10 Chinese nationals. So I think that the memory of all of this Aisha Wan has been banished forever. The memory of Aisha Wan should be banished.
Do these include foreigners?
Chinese nationals. Foreigners, clearly they are foreigners. So you have various cases that I can cite, Republic vs. Wei, Ganyan, Yang, Moiji, and others. They're all Chinese nationals. And there are 10 Chinese nationals. And even yesterday, some were also picked up further. So there's a lot of prosecution going on. Arrests are being made every day. And when they are arrested, they are gone, they are processed before court and all for various offenses. I think even yesterday you heard about this a matter involving some Chinese nationals who were operating a casino in one village. So.
Let me throw in a concept of the beneficial owners. Are these beneficial owners, or these are people you arrested on site?
These are people who engage in acts prohibited by law. They are engaged in acts that have been prescribed and which clearly are illegal, criminal, and they are being put before court.
Is there illegal a desire to pursue beneficial owners who may not necessarily be on the site to arrest physically?
Even one of them, probably was a young Mojin. Interrogations revealed that the persons who were behind are both Chinese and a Ghanaian. So both persons, even though they are on the run, are being pursued. So ultimately, we'll bring all them.
The monster of illegal mining has.
The thing that most important thing is to set an example clearly to Ghanaians and to the whole world that you cannot engage in the destruction of our environment and go scot-free. And whether you are a Ghanaian national, whatever nationality you belong to, you'll be prosecuted. And when you are prosecuted, they do amendment, which was effected pursuant to the effort of our government, is that you serve your sentence in Ghana. The amendment to the law, which was effected in 2019, which prescribes a penalty of at least 15 years, a maximum 25
Even
years.
when you have an extradition
for
treaty
a Ghanaian. Hold on, that's for a Ghanaian. If you're a foreigner, it's minimum of 20 years and maximum 25 years. That amendment was effected pursuant to efforts by our government in 2019. And it also further prescribes that if you're a foreigner, upon conviction, you serve your sentence fully in Ghana without the option of...
Regardless of extradition treaties you may have with the counterpart.
That's what the law says, that no extradition will be effected. You serve your sentence in Ghana.
I was making a point
As I'm saying, so for now, the media should stop talking about Aisha Juan, but the memory has been banished forever.
The monster of illegal mining has rested on the fear or the perception or the reality, choose which of the descriptions, about political powers who may be involved, and they are more difficult to rein in. Is there desire to look there too? Is there something that have you ever averted your mind to?
100%. There will be an application of the law regardless of political, religious, ethnic, or national.
Even if they are NPP members?
100%. I think recently reports came out about the destruction of an equipment alleged to belong to the National Women's Organizer of the ruling party. And that, for me, is a classic example of an even, non-discriminatory, and fair application of the law. That regardless of who you are, your equipment will be bent, and that's what we are doing. And you will be prosecuted if evidence is found that you engage in it.
Yeah, but so why is she not being prosecuted then?
So investigations are underway in respect of that matter, and if indeed we find her to be personally involved, she will be prosecuted.